The story is called The Rest of the Morning, and it follows a young deaconess named Soraya. She's on a weekend baptism retreat with her fellow deaconess, Helene. And while she's on this retreat, Helene is asking her so many questions about her faith and saying things like, well, don't you think that God loves people more if they haven't sinned or if they try not to sin at all? And this brings up a lot of feelings for Soraya because she has a past that she is for sure not proud of, and is traumatized by in some way. And through her interactions with Helene, she sort of has to figure out what her relationship to God is and what her relationship to herself is. And how this story came about is I was listening to a Solange Knowles album when I get home, and she's one of my favorite artists. And so I'm often listening to her music. But there's this transition between um, an Alexis K. Tyler sample that Solange uses that then goes into her original song, Gerard. And I was really startled by that transition because in the Tyler sample, she's talking about women sort of recognizing that God has created them. And that you kind of have to realize that you're magnificent and you're wonderful if God, who has created the world around you, has made you too. And then Solange takes it and goes into this very romantic love song. Um, and I was really compelled by that because I sort of expected the song to be about God more explicitly. And then it turns into this song about romance. And that just sort of stuck with me. And I was like, well, what is the relationship between all of these things? Like, what does it mean to love God? What does it mean to love yourself? What does it mean to love somebody else? And how do those loves differ and how do they connect? And I thought about that for a really long time. And then this story sort of came out of it. Sometimes she caught God mid-blink. At best, she felt his gaze as a fullness in her chest, a yellow column of blue-flecked light that pushed out everything else. But during some prayers, she felt not absence, but thinness, like he was there, but not looking at her completely. No answers for it, even though she was changed now, 28 and living again in New Orleans, the city of her birth. So maybe she had to try harder, be better, to keep his attention. Her thoughts anyway, before her phone rang, interrupting her from rereading baptism procedures at her kitchen table. A warm December Tuesday in New Orleans, and sunlight combed the mess of her Treme studio. The yellow patchwork quilt wrinkled over the bed, the flats and sandals jumbled in a heap by the door. At least messiness gives me an excuse, she thought, as she finally found her phone beneath a jacket on the floor. Can't let him up here with it like this. But it wasn't Jay. Instead, Helene from church. You free, Soraya? Helene asked, her voice calm, measured. Today? She couldn't imagine Helene, with her square-jawed fiance in ivory dresses and river black hair pinned with a floral hair comb each Sunday, wanting to hang out with her. Usually, Helene called to guide her into being a deaconess, to discuss communion duties, to warn her not to wear dresses too tight around the swell of her breast and stomach, to remind her to wear white heels, not black. Sure, I could. What do you need?